So Jake, where are you right now?
I'm in a hotel room.
What is that behind you? Can you explain to me?
This
It looks
is
like
so-
seagull.
it's-
Is it seagulls?
Did
It's
Alfred
birds,
hang
yeah.
those?
It's metal. Yeah, it's very ow. It's a little sharp.
Did
but
you
it's
just
like
get
a bat.
tetanus?
It's a bat. I'm in a very industrial type hotel.
Okay.
Concrete
Yeah.
walls. Very, very nice. Good for
What,
sound.
in Los Angeles?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. Yeah, I could talk about. I'm seeing Tony Hawk, the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Hell yeah.
I was like, absolutely yes, I want to see this game. So
Yeah.
yeah,
exciting.
we'll probably talk about that next episode because
You're
of the
gonna meet
timing
the
here.
Birdman?
The birds, the right dog.
No, the Birdman.
Oh, the Birdman, the rapper or Tony Hawk?
I was gonna say fake fan. of
Fake
me.
fan. right here.
I'm just being coy. I'm being coy. If he's here, I'd love to meet him.
I'm
I
sure
don't
he's
know what
gonna
I would
be
say to
there,
him.
right?
Yeah.
Like, because I got invited to that thing as well, and Stu's actually attending on our behalf. So, but they were talking in the email about like, oh, they'll have like musical acts and they'll have like celebrity appearances, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, who are they going to have? Fucking Bam? Is he going to be there?
I feel like
tricky
Bam
enough,
is not
tricky
gonna be
enough to
there.
get him into the game, let alone in person. So, I feel like it's got to be Tony. Like, it's got to happen.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, what does one say to Tony Hawk? Like, if you meet him?
Hey, you look like Tony Hawk. You look like that guy.
Do a kickflip.
Perfect answer. I mean,
It was kind of undermined by the fact that my chair broke, so I immediately went like dropped out.
I think you just high five him, man. I reckon that's his
Yeah.
vibe. Just give him a high five, and he's gonna be like, "Yep, cool, we're
Yeah.
okay." You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, yeah, that's it.
Well,
That'll be
I think-
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
And I
see. We have a
think,
lot. Go
I
ahead.
think there are a few people who would be better qualified to speak on Tony Hawk than you at this point.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel
Thank
like
you.
yours is going to be the coverage to watch. This is
Thank
this
you.
is
I was
important.
playing on the plane to get like kind of like warmed up because I want to crush all these game journalists
Of course.
at the game. So
Were you
I'm doing.
also about to say that you think you and Tony Hawk have a lot in common?
No,
that
I
what
don't
you
think
were
we do at
about
all.
to
No,
I was gonna
I think we have
say.
literally zero in common.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe
I
he's
agree.
played the game. No, but
You
I
can
was
land
locked
those
in on the
900s.
airplane. I was doing the Lucy. I was doing the thing I did when we went to Finland with the glasses.
Which I wish
Dude,
I'd seen. I
Ralph, let me
wish I'd
pitch you
seen.
right now, and this isn't
Go
like
on.
an ad. This isn't a sponsored thing.
Yeah.
I won't even say what company, but like those companies that make the glasses, they look like Ray-Bans, like regular
Yeah.
Wayfarers that
Yeah.
project the screen.
Yes.
Fucking game changer in an airplane because
Does it work well? I've never tried it before. Does it actually work well?
yes, it does.
No
And
way.
I am a believer after using it on an airplane, specifically because when I play Steam Deck sitting down, my
Oh,
neck gets
dude,
tired.
tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So now I'm just like this.
Wait,
In
what
an
are they called?
airplane.
What's it called? What's the brand?
There's two. There's the X Real
Yes.
and there's the
Mhm.
Vitcher glasses, which I have,
Okay.
full disclosure, I had been sponsored by those a couple of times.
The
Okay, okay.
Vitcher,
The Vitcher.
like the
yeah.
Wild Hunt.
I want a pair of
That's-
those. I actually think that a former Xbox person does.
Yeah, Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph
Yeah.
does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was like the only other Ralph that I knew in the whole industry. And then he went
Yeah.
over, he left Xbox to do
And
this
now-
other thing.
You're the
So,
Supreme Ralph.
Now I'm the
You're
only
Ralph
Ralph. I'm
Supreme.
the last Ralph standing. There can be only one Ralph. It's like Italian Highlander.
I literally, so again, I think they're kind of like too expensive right now, but
Yeah.
the flight to Finland, I played like 6.5 hours straight of games, like did
Yeah.
not stop
Nuts.
because I could just sit there privately and have this
So
giant
good.
screen and I'm just gaming. It's the best.
Dude, because I played
Privately.
I played 7 hours of Clair Obscur on my Steam Deck looking like this.
oh,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like I was by the end, I was like, I can't lift my neck. Like
Yep.
that was it. It was terrible. So I think that's actually awesome, and I would be very interested in that
Yeah, consider it.
for sure.
We're here. This is the podcast. I'm hosting, right? This is
Yeah.
episode. This is I'm ready to say it. This is
Do
episode
it.
69. This is absolutely huge.
Nice.
This is incredible. We want to thank the community for sticking with us. We know you guys have been anticipating this episode, so thank you
big.
for
Yeah.
sticking around. We're here.
Totally.
Episode 69 is important because it means that we've made it this far. And
Yeah.
at this point, it's either, we got 69. Now the next one we got to get to is 420. So,
Yeah, it kind of sucks that
Will
there's
be-
nothing in between that.
We'll be really old by that point.
Oh God.
9/11. Oh no, that's after.
Oh my God. It also
episode 9/11 special celebratory episode 9/11.
No,
That's
Ralph,
right.
No.
This episode's
All
also
right.
going to be weird because it's 11:40 p.m.
Yes.
on the West Coast, and Jake just arrived from New York. So
I'm on 11:45, 12:45, 1:45, 2:45 for me.
Damn, man.
Did you sleep
3
at all on
a.m.?
the flight?
No, I was gaming.
God.
Yeah,
I was playing Tony Hawk. I was popping 900s on the plane, man. It was sick.
Respect.
Yeah, I
gotta
mean,
do it.
Very important.
I do respect it.
Yeah.
But we've all been kind of all over the place. Ralph, you went to
Emotionally.
Japan. You weren't in the last episode because you were in Japan hanging out with Hideo Kojima, Koji Pro, checking out Death Stranding 2. How was that?
Death Stranding 2 is, I mean, look, I'm like the world's most biased man when it comes to Death Stranding, though. Okay,
Yeah.
do not come to me for an objective take on Death Stranding,
Mhm.
because I really did think the first one was like a masterpiece. I really did.
Mhm.
And I remember it was one of the times earlier in my career when I was reviewing where I was just like utterly flabbergasted by people who didn't like it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't like this? This is the best shit ever. What the fuck are you talking about? You know? And I still always have felt that ever since. But yeah, so the chance to go over there and play it, number 2, excuse me, was really special, you know? And it was a really weird preview because most of the time you go to a preview for like 1 day in studio, you play for like 4 hours or whatever. But this one was 4 days in studio, a total of 30 hours of play. It is the longest preview
Nuts.
That's too much.
ever.
They did that for
Metal Gear 5.
Metal Gear Solid
exactly.
5 for sure.
It's like Kojima style, I guess. He just believes in it.
They did it for Ground Zeroes, except that game only takes 40 minutes. So you just had a
So
lot of
that's
free
how it
time.
works. Exactly right. So yeah, I mean, look, I think it's going to be really interesting to hear the other perspectives on it, because I think that a lot of people were saying, oh, this is like Metal Gear Solid 5, and you know, oh, it's so different from Death Stranding 1 and blah blah blah. And like, I don't agree with any of those takes personally. I actually think that this thing gestures towards like Metal Gear Solid in terms of it has stricter missions set up in terms of how you plan for a mission and you organize your loadout, and the kind of equipment that you can bring with you is more sort of focused on stealth and combat. Like there are more options on that front, whatever else.
So instead of piss grenades, you've got piss grenades.
Okay, well, this is I'm gonna blow your mind now. Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
This is a true story. And I told this in the preview, but this is a true story. So we were sitting with a bunch of British journalists playing, like in a break. And one of them goes, yo, wouldn't it be funny if Death Stranding 3 was set in Australia? And I'm like, yeah, that actually would be really funny and cool, because think about it, like Australia's just a big fucking desert in the middle of it, right? Nothing going on in there. Perfect place for Death Stranding. Death Stranding 3 should be set in Australia. Literally an hour later, in Death Stranding 2, we are walking around on the Australian continent.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2 is set almost entirely in Australia. There is
which part of Australia?
The whole continent. You're connecting the whole continent. Yeah.
You're connecting. So you connected America, now you're connecting Australia?
Wow.
Correct.
That's cool. Okay.
Because you basically start out the game being like, and by the way, no spoilers in this, because this is all like setup stuff, and the trailers are going to talk about it being in Australia. It's going to get told, but other than that, we're not going to do any other story spoilers. I'm super sensitive to story spoilers in a Kojima game, so don't worry, I got you. But yeah, it is set in Australia. You start out in Mexico, and then by some means, I won't spoil, you get sent to Australia. And at that point, you have to connect the Australia to the chiral network so that it's then connected to the United States. And that's
how
the
the
mission.
accents.
Okay, so this is where it gets even more interesting. Okay. Again, I covered this in the preview, so forgive me. I haven't told these guys yet. So if you've watched the preview for the game, you want to hear this story. But
I want to hear it from the source. Yeah.
So we're in Australia, and I'm like, oh no, they've made a game in Australia. Oh no, right? I'm like, this is going to be dog shit in terms of accents and in terms of dialogue and whatever else. So we get there and we start meeting like the preppers or whatever, which are, the people that you run up to and you drop your cargo off and the little hologram pops up, whatever. And I noticed that they have very authentic Australian accents, very authentic, to the point where I'm like, okay, well, these people are Australian. They have not got Americans doing like the "G'day, mate." Like they got proper Australians, okay?
Yeah.
But then I notice this one phrase that they use, okay, and the phrase is like, "Oh, he's got Buckley's chance," and Buckley's chance is a very uniquely Australian phrase that basically means you've got no chance in hell of that happening, right? It's based on like a historical figure here in Australia. It's like old.
Jeff
It's
Buckley
so old.
Or something.
Not Jeff.
Sorry.
You got Buckley's chance of crossing that river. Anyway.
Hallelujah.
That's bad. So anyway, our parents use this phrase. We don't even use it ourselves these days because it's so old.
Right.
Okay. So as soon as I heard that phrase, I'm like, okay, an Australian wrote this dialogue. No question about that. You can't just pull that plot thing, whatever. Okay. Later on, we're in a group Q&A with like a whole bunch of people, including Yoji Shinkawa, which I was like losing my mind over.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's being translated by this Australian guy. Okay. And so I walk up to him afterwards and I'm like, yeah, g'day, mate. How are you? And he's like, yeah, g'day, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Bankstown. Now, no one on this, you guys won't know what that means.
No.
Anyone from Sydney knows exactly what Bankstown is. And I'm like, whoa, how the fuck did you get from Bankstown to Tokyo, Anyway, he turns out he used to work for Konami and then Platinum Games, and now he's the lead localizer for Death Stranding 2. He's this Aussie guy that was he wasn't hired because he was Australian. He was hired just because he's a good localizer. And, so he basically translated Kojima's script into English, or more specifically like Australian English, because he's an Aussie. And he did a fantastic job. And, we basically hung out one night at a function or whatever else. He was telling me all these stories about whatever. Really cool dude. But yeah, did a really great job in bringing like a very authentic voice to Death Stranding as it is set in Australia. And yeah, you can like capture kangaroos in this game and quokkas. Yep. There's like a new activity where you basically have to go and like you go up to an animal and like capture it and you put it on your back in this special cage thing, and then you walk it back and you can drop it at an animal sanctuary and you can like pat it afterwards and take care of it. There are bushfires in Death Stranding too, because of course there are. It's like Australian bushfires is just like that's the thing we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there are parts of the landscape that look Australian, but the point is not really for it to, look authentic, because again, like America did not look like Iceland. America does not look like Iceland.
I was going to say, like, I went to Iceland after Death Stranding came out and I was like, yes, the United States of America.
So, it's fine.
Structurally, is it, how is the game compared to, does it play out like the first one?
Yeah, so I think it is, again, this is where it's going to be a very interesting game to talk about, because I think it's almost identical to the first one, but there are some subtle changes that broaden the number of choices that you have, right? So you are still delivering packages. That's the main thing that you're doing.
Cool.
But you also now have a much more capability on the stealth and combat front. There are quite a few missions that will send you face to face with enemy combatants. And that was kind of like not a focus of Death Stranding 1 at all. It was all about like avoiding them entirely.
Yeah.
And if you kind of ran into them, it was kind of a bit of a failure state almost. Whereas here it's like Kojima wants you to be able to fight them. And you can, but it's like really simple. Like you're basically just shooting target dummies in terms of the enemies, and they don't have any real sophistication in terms of their combat capabilities or their stealth kit or whatever else. So it's kind of like, you have like a stealth grenade that lets you like drop a grenade that will put up a hologram of you to distract enemies or whatever. But do you need to use that? Not really, because it's so easy to either KO these guys or stealth past them that you don't really need it. You know what I mean? So again, Kojima, though, in the Q&A session that we did, he's like, I wanted to give people options so they can do different things. But the point of this game, it is a delivery game. It's about delivering packages. And he said that like almost verbatim, right? So you definitely have more options. But in terms of what the game is asking you to do, it's still asking you most of the time to deliver packages. And for me personally, I love that, because that's what I loved about the first game.
It was like the sense of accomplishment. Getting from A to B.
Yeah. So I would say,
sorry.
though, that the pacing is much better. I think that's something that a lot of people didn't like about Death Stranding 1. They found it very slow to get going. This is much quicker. You just sort of get straight in there and off you go. I think its mission setup is it does a good job of pulling you into the rhythm of the gameplay really well and getting you up to speed on things. I also think the difficulty's been tuned down a little bit in terms of the traversal. Like, it's not as... Like, you know how the whole tilting thing and whatever, like holding the triggers and whatever, like, I think it is just generally easier at this point when you are carrying large amounts of weight to like keep your balance. And I think people won't find it as arduous as Death Stranding 1 was. But again, I love that. So I'm kind of a little bit bummed it's a bit easier, but whatever, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's not that different. I don't want to make it sound like it's an easy game. I mean, it's never that hard, but my point is it's a little bit easier. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of thing was the thing that kept you engaged on those long journeys, right? You had to be constantly thinking and like adapting. So
absolutely. So yeah, I think visually it's unbelievable, like unbelievable. There's one sequence that is basically like the best thing I've seen on a console. It's unbelievable how good it looks. Like, and I played on a base PS5, by the way, and it runs like 60 FPS performance mode and looks staggeringly good. And then it looks even better in the quality mode, which is at like 30 FPS. So I mean, obviously a PS5 mode will just kind of combine those two, and it's going to look, it just looks nuts. Like it's natural landscapes. I don't think any game has done natural landscapes quite like this. I mean, obviously they're not
photogrammetry still.
Yeah, I think it's got an even more stylized kind of quality to it this time. I think they really kind of jacked their art design further, you know, and that's kind of what, interestingly enough, that's kind of what Kojima and his tech lead said, because people asked them, they're like, the jump to PS4 to PS5, from PS4 to PS5, what did it give you? What did it let you do? And they're like, well, actually, the gap between the two consoles wasn't that big. It didn't let us do that much more. So, you know, Kojima basically said, so we had to focus on other things like story and gameplay changes. And the tech lead basically said the biggest thing it allowed us to do was remove loading screens. So this does look better. And if you compare them side by side, like the PS4, Death Stranding to this, you notice like a sharper image, I think is probably the best way to put it. But it's not like vastly different. It still kind of looks very, very similar. There's more vegetation though, and I think Decima is really good at rendering vegetation, so it kind of works for that. But yeah, really good looking game though, incredibly good looking game, and I love the storytelling, characters. I love it all, man. I'm the biggest fucking Death Stranding simp though. So again, don't trust me. I'm just
Death Stranding pills.
I'm terrible.
Well, you did play a bunch of it in terms of the storytelling and stuff. Is it different this time around in terms of like it being a lot of like front loaded, back loaded, and then just kind of like shit to read in the middle, or like NPC diet, like those hologram people? Is there more? Is that like drip fed out a little better this time from what you've
seen? It's a good question, actually. No, I would say it's much better this time. I would say that it has a really steady clip of impactful cutscenes that are introducing new characters and sequences, and the new character introductions are so good. Again, no spoilers.
Are they like anime as fuck?
One of them is, because it involves a cyber ninja. The other ones, though, are just really cool, interesting, imaginative scenarios and storytelling, and it's just really, really cool. The one in particular for Tarman, which is the George Miller character, it's just so good. Again, no spoilers. But I was just transfixed, man. I loved it so much. So I would say that's definitely one improvement on the game, of notable improvement of the game, that it is metering out its story much better rather than, you're right, like front loading and back loading it.
Cool.
Absolutely.
That was my biggest criticism. So the fact that they're addressing that, huge.
Yep.
How does it do with kind of retelling the events of DS1?
Oh, bro. Oh, so bad.
It's so bad. I was like I don't really remember the intricacies.
What do you do?
This is the thing, and I spoke about this in my preview as well, so apologies again. I know I'm repeating a lot of stuff here, but this is what it is. Death Stranding, it has like a little vignette thing that kind of catches you up. It's like 17 slides that tells the story of Death Stranding 1. But the Death Stranding story is kind of nonsense. It's not really about the story. It's kind of about like everything in between that story, like the vibes. And it's vibes, man. Like it really is. And they're incredibly compelling vibes, but you can't capture vibes in a little vignette. And I think that those vibes, though, do contribute to your appreciation of what's going on in the events of Death Stranding 2, you know? So do you need to have played Death Stranding 1 in order to play 2? No, but like I think you're missing out on quite a bit if you don't. And at the very least, I'd recommend watching like a good long YouTube video that has like, a summary of shit. Because again, the what's in game is nowhere near enough to catch you up. And I would just recommend playing Death Stranding 1, to be honest with you, because I think
Yeah, I
it's
feel like
worth it.
especially because there's a lot of stuff you need to know. Like you need to be educated about like what's a BT, what's the chiral network, what's all that
What's
shit.
a BB?
And it doesn't do any work to catch you up in game because it's so quick to get going. It's just like, come on, we got to get this thing moving. We don't want people to get bored like last time, And so it just dispenses with all that kind of world building background stuff and just drops you straight in. I can only imagine how disorienting it would be for someone who's never played this, because everyone that was there had played Death Stranding before. So they got it. I would love to chat with someone who's never played it before, drop straight in. Like they'd be like, what the fuck is going on, man? I got no idea what I'm doing here. So yeah.
Did you see any fun cameos?
We did, but we're not allowed to talk about them,
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So they actually were quite specific about that. They're like, don't spoil that stuff. So yes, there is. There are plenty of cameos, and they're also asked us not to share information about the licensed tracks because they're still kind of being finalized. Some of them, but it's a very cool soundtrack, and I can say that like a lot of it is Woodkid. I think Woodkid is kind of the not replacement's a very crude term, but like obviously it was Low Raw, and then the lead singer, artist behind Low Raw, passed away. And so, Kojima has sort of found in Woodkid another kind of musical voice for his work. And I think Woodkid kind of really leads the charge on that. And man, the opening sequence of this game, it's unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's so good. And it's about the music and the editing of that music and the scenario. It's just like, oh my God, it's so good. As I said, cannot wait for everyone to experience it.
This one, like I loved Death Stranding, but I don't know what about Death Stranding 2. I wasn't like super, super hyped for it, but now I'm like,
I mean, look, Death Stranding is a very quiet taste. I get it.
Oh no, I love DS1. Like, oh man. I mean, honestly, like one of my career highlights was shooting that video with Kojima and Shinkawa, where they kind of broke down one of the scenes of it. Maybe one of the most stressful working days I've had in a while, having them all come in, because they were like, there was like an entourage of like 10 people who came in with them. Okay, and it was just like one of those kind of wild ones.
It is like that.
It's just like, you have Kojima and Shinkawa, and like you want to make sure like from our side that you are being the utmost professional and getting it done, and like they're vibing with the video that we're making. And one of my favorite things about that whole day, and there were a lot of amazing moments about it, was that they had their own videographer, and they had like a little bus, and they like went away to wherever it was the next place they were going to. And in the car, their videographer made a hype reel for the video, and then he posted it on his Instagram account.
I remember that when that person was doing that would just like do it on their phone and shit. It was crazy. Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah. Insane.
So that was a fun day.
I'm glad the takeaways are good. And how was the studio? What was that like? I mean, you got to do the white hallway. You got to do the iconic shit,
You got to do Ludens. You got to do
Yeah, we did the studio tour. The studio is really cool. There is actually a studio tour video that you can see on YouTube now. They put up a few years ago of like their new studio. And it's a really cool space. It's on like the 30th floor of some building. It's got a sick-ass cafeteria, and that's kind of where we were for the week. Just playing in there. They set up a whole bunch of kiosks for us. We did do the Ludens room, and got that photo. We then there's actually a museum attached to that room, kind of hidden off to the side, that has all this cool like Death Stranding stuff. And then another room leads out of that, and it's kind of like their VIP meeting room, which is like all white couches. And as Kojima designed it, he said he wanted it to feel like a lunar module or something, like you're meeting on the moon or some shit. Like, and you can kind of see it,
Is that where the wall that he gets everyone to sign?
No, the wall's in the cafeteria actually. Yeah. And so I saw a whole bunch of signatures on that wall, which is really fun actually. And then there's like a hallway with like all the awards and shit. There's a few rooms which kind of just get used for exercise. Like they have all this exercise equipment set up so that staff can exercise on site, and that's cool. We went to the recording booths as well. Which is
cool. Where they like scan and capture people and stuff.
Actually there There's one scanning room which we went into, but that's where they only scan objects.
Oh,
In terms of
wow.
scanning people, it turns out they do that scanning work in Serbia, which I couldn't believe. But apparently, I guess the world's
What?
best scanning thing, unless there's a company called Serbia in Japan where they do this or somewhere else. But that's what they told me. I'm like, Serbia? And they're like, yeah, Serbia. And I'm like, okay.
So,
Apparently
so
that's where they
Hideo
do all their
Kojima convincing all these celebrities to ship out to Serbia so he can scan them into his game.
It's very possible.
That's
As I said, there's some company called Serbia,
Yeah.
right? Because like that would make more sense because I don't imagine that Serbia is super famous for its high-tech scanning technology or whatever. But that's what they said to me. And I double checked that. I'm like, Serbia? And they're like, yeah, Serbia. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's where they do all the feet scanning, basically. Anytime feet need to get scanned, it's over to Serbia, Very important.
Man.
So yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
Big time.
It was
okay, good.
It's a very cool game. I mean, look, I think that if you like Death Stranding, you will like this.
Yeah.
I think that if you wanted to like Death Stranding 1, but you just found like there was too much stopping you from getting into it, I think there's a good chance that this will do that. Because I would say personally that like this kind of breaks down a lot of the barriers that that stopped you from enjoying it. I think that Kojima is aiming at the same thing here, but he's just kind of like twisted a few dials and added a few things. So now it kind of sucks you in. And like my little hot takeaway from this is that like I think the core of Death Stranding has always been perfect. That's my take, right? A lot of people disagree with that. Fair enough. But I feel like it is. And I think Death Stranding 2 just kind of helps you realize that it's perfect faster. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of gets you on that same page where you're like, oh yeah, I can see now why people like Death Stranding. That's what's really great about Death Stranding 2. It kind of helps you get to that point that other people got to when they enjoyed Death Stranding 1. Do you know what I mean?
So I remember like for me, it was like a solid 6 hours before it clicked. And then I found
for a lot of people.
Meditative sort of. And then a lot of people found it in the pandemic too, because it was an oddly prescient game when it came to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, is it still like? Does it still have like Strand? Is it still a Strand type game?
Still a Strand type game. All of that's quite similar. The only thing that they've really added on top of that stuff, I think, is really kind of like a monorail network which you can build, which is quite similar to roads, but it has a different function because monorails can transport huge amounts of materials in one go. Whereas the roads are just about kind of getting around. It's a bit complicated to explain, but long story short, the biggest expansion to the social strand stuff is the monorail network. It's pretty cool. It's fun. I like it. You can ride the monorail as well. And it's sick. I love it.
Death Stranding 2, monorails confirmed. Awesome.
That's right. Exactly right. Monorail.
Monorail.
Yeah. So that was it. That was the visit. It was a good time. It was a very good time.
Great. What do you guys think of the GTA 6 trailer that just dropped today?
That dropped.
Haven't checked it out. Is that a big deal? Are people interested in that? Is that popular? I haven't paid attention.
Number one on trending right now. Surprisingly.
I did a lot of talking, so I'll let you guys handle this one.
I haven't been on the website yet, but people were saying that they dropped like 60 odd screenshots as well, and a bunch of like character bios. I mean, it's kind of what I expected from a GTA trailer. I'm at the point now I was like, any gameplay in there, pal? Because we also got the release date, which is a year out.
Yeah. I just want gameplay. Yeah.
I actually wasn't actually quite what I expected from a trailer because it had this kind of the editing and vibe of it was really
weird.
How would I say it? Weird, but in a cool way. Because I think most trailers are all like this summer, and then like the cut down and you know how a trailer feels. We all know how a trailer feels.
Yeah.
It kind of has this rhythm that all feel the same.
Beat, dip to black, come back,
boom, all that shit, right? This one felt almost like a kind of awkward 80s cop show trailer that you might find on YouTube, where it's kind of, which obviously I feel was clearly a deliberate choice. This had a different hand to its editing and like a different voice that I really liked a lot. I thought it was, I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
I think it was effective in that it just wanted to show a bunch of different angles of the game. The craziness, the different regions, spending time on both the characters, showing some like mundane stuff, showing all the crazy NPCs and stuff. It was like really all over the place.
Showing some booty, lots of booty in that
a lot of ass.
Are we finally getting that hot coffee?
Can we Can we actually like talk seriously about this? Like, I found the trailer very like
Yes,
hot.
I
I
agree.
found it
I
very
agree.
sexy in a way that wasn't cringeworthy or
Yeah.
forced. I feel like video games have and acknowledge sex and sexuality, but it's usually awkward and canned, it's just a trailer. It's just marketing, but like what I saw felt fresh for video games and felt kind
I
of
totally agree with
natural.
that.
Yeah, it felt mature, but like not M for mature. You know, it just felt like a mature showcasing of people who are
Have sweet
together.
Yeah.
asses. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm currently scrolling the website. Have you
The
done that
website?
yet?
The website
It's
is the most impressive website I've ever clicked on.
I'm like listening to what you guys are
I'm
saying,
not
and I'm
joking.
like,
Yeah.
this is insane. The
A
way that
lot.
they have the characters,
unbelievable.
like, Stu, can you get some B-roll of this? Because
Yeah,
I am
it's-
losing
$1 billion
my
website.
mind.
It's actually wild
Yeah.
how good it's like even their websites are the best. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Wang Chung, please.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, we're so
That
back.
and the
We're
Pointer
so
Sisters.
back.
That was a banger. It's you know, they're doing their thing.
And also, I feel
100%.
like, did anyone watch Barry in that show Barry?
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
Stephen Root.
Is that his name? I don't know the actor's name,
Yeah.
but he plays Fuchs. Yeah, okay, right. He's in
Yeah.
it, right? Surely, because that voice is him for sure. Like,
That's
if it's
the
not him,
easiest
I'm
one
gonna
to
be stunned.
pin. It's
Yes.
gotta be him. Yeah.
Yes, and it really works with him because, like, having seen him play that role in Barry, it's just like it's the perfect fit, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I really agree with what you're saying before. Like that, yeah, like sexuality in video games is, I don't know, like we don't really know how to deal with it properly. Like it's kind of like it's kind of big anime titties, or it's kind of like, I don't know, like
Dip to black.
Adolescence, like anime, like sort of like Persona-esque, or it's, I don't know, Life is Strange maybe,
Or RPG choices where it's just like, okay,
which is so
here we
ridiculous.
go. Yeah.
Totally, like hit the will bang button. You know, this had this other kind of different vibe where it's like a sexually charged energy between the main characters that didn't feel juvenile. Like it felt like, yeah, this is what you'd expect from a, I'm not going to say Tarantino because I think he has a different way of approaching it, but it kind of had that kind of, yeah, Hollywood vibe to it, you know, about how they approach relationships between adults, you know, and I was into that.
And I feel like if you are having that Bonnie and Clyde, like throughout everything we have each other, like you need that chemistry between the two characters to, because they'll be pulling each other through. Hey, it's a GTA game. God knows what. There was that bit where Lucia's like fighting someone. It looks like she's falling out of a helicopter or a plane or something. Like there's going to be some insane shit. And like, yeah, if you kind of have each, I wonder, are they doing character switching like in 5? Or is it going to, yeah, I mean, we don't know, but like,
I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't have that because it feels like it's hard to go back from that. And especially when you've got two characters, it does kind of make sense, but who knows, obviously.
But I also wonder because like in 5, it was a really cool feature, like not only narratively, but also gameplay wise, like the way they did it. But like narratively, it made sense because the 3 of them would be in very different parts of town doing very different shit. Whereas you have this couple at this point who are mostly going to be together, you would assume.
I don't know, not necessarily. I reckon they'd have their own lives as well, doing their own thing.
They're doing their own hustles. They're getting their own scores.
Yeah.
There is some speculation I have seen online. We talked about it in one of our videos that maybe it's going to be more like you can switch characters, but also you can have the other character with you. Because they, I don't know, there was a lot of stuff with like characters jumping from one car to the other and another character shooting from one car while the other's driving. So just wondering if that's going to be more of an active part of
like
gameplay.
Co-op?
No, but just in terms of it be like actively having another character with you, not just in story mode. Like obviously when you did bank heists and shit, you had Trevor and Franklin running around, but like out in the world, you never really joined up with them. So
it would be pretty cool if this had co-op though. I mean, like that would be pretty sick. I mean, I don't imagine they would do it, but it would be a really cool innovation within this franchise. Absolutely.
The other thing I think should be acknowledged is how good it looks. They've said this is
PS5?
running on a base PS5, which is insane. Again, it's marketing. Like we're going to see it at the best it could possibly look. But even still, I was like, damn.
But Rockstar don't fuck around with that, by the way.
They
Like,
really don't. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
really
they
play
don't. If you
games
go
with
and
their games like that.
look at their trailers look how the game looks. Like, they legitimately don't fuck around with that ever.
Yeah.
So if they could start now, but I don't think they'd want to, because why would you want to invite that kind of negative press? What they've built is
Yeah.
probably going to be extraordinary, and I'm sure they're just showing us what they built. That's my guess, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's something to the, like, I found really awesome, like the more mundane looking parts of the trailer. I thought looked incredible. Like in the beginning of the trailer, when the guy pulls up to the character Jason's house, and there's just like a boat park, there's like a boring driveway, and it just looked really good and normal. And like I was like, wow, man, this is nuts.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, kind of doesn't feel real that we're getting a new GTA, because it's kind of been something we've all been talking about ever since 5 released, right?
Yeah.
It's just like always kind of looking to the next thing, the next big one. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it is going to be huge. I personally am in that bucket where I'm like, I look forward to this, but I'm not like super excited about it, funnily enough, because like I've always enjoyed GTA games, but they've never been like my games. You know, I've been like an RPG guy and a looter shooter guy and whatever else. So I mean, I'm in that bucket where I'm like, I'm really excited to see, and I mean, I'd be looking forward more to like a Red Dead than this. You know what I mean? Because that kind of style of storytelling, that period piece storytelling, really works for me. So I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'm excited, but it's like, I don't know. You know, it's not in my top 10 list of most looking forward to games, because again, it's just not really the kind of game that I really like love. You know, like I just always had that relationship to it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I have the Red Dead 2 mouse mat right now. A bunch of Red Dead shit over there. Like,
Very nice.
Red Dead is my game for sure.
Sure.
But there is just something, I don't know, like Jake said, it's marketing.
I think it's exciting to imagine.
It's just exciting in general. I'm just excited to see where they go with it and how they push it, because
correct.
Hey, no one does it like Rockstar.
As a milestone for this industry, I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to see what this company is going to do and how they've done it, because the development timeline for this is incredible. Obviously, they would have spent all the money in the world on it. It's clearly going to have a huge impact. And I'm far more interested in the impact this game will have on the industry than I am in playing it. And I am interested to play it. But what I'm saying is, I find that other stuff actually like far more fascinating, and seeing its ripple effects is what I'm really like that's where I'm very keen.
You see, Devolver was like, "We're gonna put a game out." That's
the Guerrilla Games approach to release schedules. Release it at the same time, man.
I'm really excited to see how the storytelling goes, because I like how like Rockstar tells a story, like specifically like newer Rockstar, like stuff with like Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 and stuff. But I didn't like Grand Theft Auto 5's story and single player at all.
Okay, interesting.
I love the world and I love like the antics and stuff, but like the characters didn't really do it for me. The scenarios, other than the heists, like didn't really do it for me. So I'm hoping this one can try and do the nuances and the subtleties of a Red Dead. You know, I feel like there's opportunity. It looks like it from the trailer, but I think the craziest thing, and they did it with Red Dead, and Red Dead 2 wasn't like a trillion dollar, decades in the making game. Still huge, but Red Dead 2 had like told a story in such a weird and interesting way, and it was a story that you wouldn't expect to see in this medium. So I'm really curious to see if they do that again with something that is so massive as GTA. Like if they take that swing.
I think, Red Dead told one story that had a number of smaller stories within it. And I think GTA games have typically been anthology stories where like the broader storyline overarching is not as important as the little, you meet this new little crime lord and you build a relationship with them and you do all their missions and then you move on to the next one. And it's just kind of, it's a collection of adventures. And I think that's why I've never really connected with it in quite that way, because that all just feels very fragmented and broken. And yeah, it's hard for me to like really finish a GTA game because I actually don't care about like what's actually going on in terms of that broader storyline. But with Red Dead, it was kind of like, to this day, I still believe Red Dead 2 is the greatest written video game of all time. And I would love for them to adopt some of that approach here,
Yeah.
where it's like build that central narrative first and then have little things that plug into it, rather than building your like characters and just making sure that you're going around on adventures. You know what I mean? So,
and I think some of that can come through with the story it tells between the two characters.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it already seems too like people are like all about it. Like ever since it leaked, people were like all about the Bonnie and Clyde thing. So I think that could be cool.
But like the world is a parody now. What are they? I'm interested in seeing what they're gonna. They're gonna narrow in on.
I think what they have on their side is it feels very much like, even just from the trailer, it feels like a very different flavor of America, you know? Because they've
has anyone checked in on Florida Joker?
Oh, is he? Yeah, he wasn't in this trailer because he was threatening to sue or whatever.
Paid, man. That's a shame.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, there's definitely Grand Theft Auto has already ticked so many boxes in terms of like biker gangs, trailer trash, mafia guys, crazy guys, gang culture, all the tech world, like the San Francisco, like that time period. It already hit so much of that, but still everything in this trailer that they did highlight managed to feel like we haven't seen it. I don't know.
I agree.
It's the flavor of the world. So fingers crossed. Could be really cool.
For sure.
Is there going to be a jetpack? And can I eat 100 hamburgers and make my guy fat? That's the stuff I want to know. That's the important.
I hope they have. Did GTA 5 have cheats? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It did? Okay, cool.
Sure
I hope they have cheats, because I'm worried that they just like, no cheats. Only
GTA
you have to
5.
pay for pay in-game spending to unlock the jet. Whatever.
You put
know
them
what
in
I
your
mean?
phone.
Oh, it's realistic now. We can't do cheats. It's too.
Yeah,
we're trying to tell a story.
Sorry, if you want to be able to have invincibility, that's the $3. Thank you very much.
It breaks the immersion.
I mean, for real, I would not be surprised. But yeah.
Well, all right. Well, with that, I think we already talked a lot. So it's time for a word from the sponsor.
Raycon. God bless them. They've been a big supporter of ours for a long time now. Couldn't do the podcast without their support. So God, much love to them. Raycon, you've all heard of them, of course. Affordable, high quality earbuds. Very small form factor. They stay in your ear. Battery life is fantastic. But they also just did a refresh of them on their everyday earbuds, and now they're even better, right, Jake?
Yes. First of all, the design is a little slicker, but it also offers multi-point connectivity. So if you're multiple devices bouncing back and forth, that's pretty cool. Also, the quick charge function at this point is like pretty insane. 10 minutes actually yields 90 minutes of battery, 10 minutes of charging, and you're good to go.
Sure.
It lasts for a while. And I think for me, it's like also the amount of features you get for the price is really good. It has active noise cancellation, which is huge. It's not something you usually get at this price point.
Yeah.
It's pretty key. It's very
super
useful.
important on a flight.
Yes,
definitely.
It's a game changer, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, as I said, I own a couple of pairs, and the biggest thing for me is that they actually stay in my ears, because obviously there are other notable earbud brands that you might be aware of. Those brands don't stay in my ear. One brand in particular. And so the good thing about Raycons is they're very comfortable. And yeah, sound quality is great. I have a few different pairs because I kind of leave them around. And to make it even easier to find them when they're around the house, they actually also sell these like cases for your case, so you can kind of like style them in different colors, whatever. You've got that one there. Yep. I've got the yellow one, so it's easy to spot. But yeah, they're really I very convenient, cost effective, and also make great gifts, because people always need a set of earbuds. Especially older people in your life who are not used to that technology. This is a great way to like get them into this stuff and be like, cool. And they didn't know how convenient it was to have something like this, and then they'll never take them out of their ears. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. You visit buyraycon.com/friends, and that will get you a nice 20% discount. That's buyraycon.com/friends for 20% off. Big thank you to Raycon for their support. Really do appreciate it. And check them out if you're interested.
All right, we're back, and we have a user question. You can submit these questions, anything you want to ask us, anything you want us to talk about, at contact@friendspersecond.com. This question comes from Max Spencer, who writes, "Hey guys, second time writing into you guys. Congrats on reaching 69 nice episodes. Really enjoying the podcast, especially since I'm driving a lot more these days for work. Thanks for keeping me company on the long roads." Thank you for that. I listen to podcasts while driving as well, so drive safe, man. So my question to you guys is, in a time where games seem to be getting longer and longer, what is your favorite short game? The game that you finished in under 10 hours or even one sitting and loved every minute? I recently played Tinykin and adored it, even though it only took me a weekend to complete. Love you all, Max.
Oh, Tinykin
Thanks, Max.
rocked.
Good choice, one. Good choice on that one, Tinykin. Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to be my fucking predictable self and say The Order 1886. The best short game.
Oh my God.
No, but
how
when
long
I
does it
recently
take to beat that one?
You can beat it in under 10 hours. It's just when it starts to get interesting, it ends, unfortunately. I have one I replayed recently, Inside. Inside is
Ooh,
oh yeah, right.
Yeah, Inside Limbo.
I love just experiencing beautiful imagery.
Yeah.
And when I can do it in like one long sitting, it's very cool.
I agree with that. Lou, sorry.
No, I was going to say, thank goodness you're here.
Yeah, I'm sure. I actually was expecting you would say exactly
I was going to say,
that.
like, it's a great 3 hours.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The laughs keep coming. I'm also like booting up my Steam to be like, what the hell did I play? That's Duck Detective.
Oh yeah, sure.
Duck Detective.
Yeah.
And also mouthwashing. Oh, that was a great one I played recently.
Oh, that's short?
Yeah, it's like 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Technically, you can finish Outer Wilds in like 20 minutes. So yeah, there you go. Does that count?
I mean, what is that like a speed run,
count.
or is that? I assume
no,
that's like
that's when you
knowledge.
Because it's that kind of game where you know where everything is now, and you just go and get it, and then you can finish the game. So that doesn't really count, obviously.
I was gonna say because then you can play like the Dark Souls, like you can play the speed run, like I can beat Dark Souls in 2 hours.
Sure. I mean, yeah, for me personally, I think one of my favorites in the last few years was Sable, actually, which was I forget exactly how long. I feel like it was 6 to 8 hours, maybe in that ballpark. But just a really beautiful game that I still listen to the soundtrack to this day. Visually, I think it still has this kind of very unmatched vibe. You know, I think a lot of other games play in that space, but no game has nailed it in quite the same way. You know, it had a lot of performance issues. Don't get me wrong. Very simple game mechanically, but like just a really fantastic, memorable experience that I truly loved. And if anyone hasn't checked it out, make sure you do. It's very good. The other one actually I really enjoyed was Scorn. Do you remember Scorn? The penis game. The penis game. I really enjoyed it for how weird it was and the art design. And like, I'm like, is this ever gonna stop being so fucking weird? And I'm like, the answer to that is a no at every corner.
I'll spoil it for people because it doesn't matter. You're a gross, disgusting man, and then at the end, you just get more disgusting, and it's over.
Yeah, totally. It's like 4 hours, 5 hours long, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, it's that kind of thing where, you know, I love a vibe, I love an aesthetic, I love a setting, and if you can kind of sink me into that for a few hours and then I'm done with it, like that's perfect for me, you know. And I think both of those games are actually quite similar in that regard, just a different kind of setting. So yeah, that's it. That's me.
Another answer that I thought of: The Last Campfire. Did you ever play that one?
Oh yeah, no, I've never played it, but sure.
It's by Hello Games. It came out mid-pandemic, like in the middle of 2020, and it was a lovely time. Oh my god, just a really tight, well put together puzzle game, but also like quite moving in its own way. I really enjoyed it. It's on phone now, apparently, too.
Oh, okay.
I played on PlayStation, but it's on everything now.
Yeah. You know what's kind of cool, actually? Like little discrete DLC pieces. They can be quite nice. And I actually went back recently and played the DLC for Alan Wake 2.
Oh, you did? Oh, man. Yeah. I'm a fake fan. I didn't play it.
Yeah. It's so unbelievably good. Again, it's kind of like little vignette style experiences. It's similar to, you played Resident Evil DLC.
I was just about to say Resident Evil 7's DLC.
Exactly. It's kind of like, let's take a thing, let's take a character or a scenario and kind of spin it out and do some cool stuff with it. It's so inventive, so cool. And yeah, you really can knock them over in like an hour and a half each. And it can kind of just be like a night's entertainment where you're like, cool, the day's done. I don't want to suit up for a whole big thing. I want to just do something small. I remember I played Alan Wake 2 18 months ago and I loved it. It was the best shit ever. Why don't I just reinstall it, boot this up? And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, man, it was a great time. So I really, again, check back on like the DLC for your games, see if anything's dropped that can like.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
it's kind of, it can kind of be a nice thing to like reconnect with a game that you love without having to suit up for the full experience again. So yeah. Yeah, and Resident Evil 7 DLC is actually. Did Village have that same kind of DLC? I can't remember. I don't think it did. Did it?
It had kind of like you play as the girl.
It had Ada. It didn't have. No, that's the Resident Evil 4 DLC.
Yeah, 7 DLC though was really peak actually. Like that's it's
the
fantastic.
bed one.
Oh man, yeah.
That was just a really cool like. Someone just going, "Hey, what if?" And then they made a whole DLC of it, and it was awesome.
Absolutely, super good.
Yeah, great question. So, I googled real quick. I googled short games just like refresh my memory, and like some people's version of a short game is like totally different than mine. So it's crazy how. But yeah, that was a good question. We should do like a whole segment on short games at some point if it's like a slow news week. I think that could be fun.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for your question, Max. All right, the next thing we got to dive into is we've been playing Doom: The Dark Ages. Ralph, what's your like top line thoughts of it so far? Because we're playing before the review. We're talking right now before the reviews drop, so you probably haven't finished. But
no, I haven't finished. I'm up to mission 8 of 22, so I'm only.
Oh wow!
I'm only like just like a third into the game kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm mission 5. So
yeah. So I am going to be so interested to see how Doom fans feel about this one. Because I like it when it's doing the Doom thing, and I don't like it when it's doing all the other things. And it's doing a lot of the other things quite a bit, unfortunately. So what I mean by that is the combat model of this game is like tailor-made to me. I love it so much. I actually love it more than 2016, I think, because it's more interesting. It's less demanding than Eternal was and less kind of, I don't know, twitchy. I just think it really found a beautiful sweet spot in terms of movement and pace and rhythm and just like mechanically, it's so good. Every time I'm on the ground with him and an arena opens up and enemies spawn in, I'm like, fuck like, let's go. I'm so pumped, right? I'm all in on that. But in between that is a lot of downtime and a lot of like sitting at a kiosk and choosing between upgrades, which I mean, that other previous games had that, sure, that's fine. But then there's a lot of like, oh, hey, here's a cutscene where some aliens are sort of talking a bit, and I'm not into this story so far, and there's a lot of story, and it's like, I'm just not into this kind of Saturday morning cartoon thing that you're doing here. I'm just not about it. And the dragon stuff where you fly around on a dragon, I hate it. Basically, I really dislike flying on the dragon. Damn. You also pilot a giant mech and you're punching shit. And I don't like that either, because you're just really hitting one button and then you hit the space bar when he does like one of his big attacks to dodge it. And then you hit a different button and that's it. And I'm just like, I just want to be on the ground with my shotgun. That's it. You know what I mean? So, am I at this rate? Am I going to recommend this game? Absolutely. Am I having a good time with it? Absolutely. I think that there's so much about it that I love, but there's a lot that gets in the way, and I feel like the purity of 2016 is still peak, absolutely peak.
Yes.
The gameplay model, the core mechanics of this, I personally prefer, and I think better. They're my preference across this whole trilogy. But yeah, there are some other things that I think are big steps back, frankly speaking. So I don't know how you guys. So have you played it at all, Lucy?
No, I haven't played it.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But Jake, also, I'm not like that much of a Doom
person.
I mean, I played it when I was too young, quite frankly.
Right.
But I get really motion sick, and so Doom Eternal for me was a DNF because like I did everything. I just couldn't play it.
Fair.
What is DNF? Duke Nukem
Duke Nukem Forever, baby. It's a do not finish. Which Duke Nukem Forever in itself.
For 14 years. Where are you at today? Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I actually get a little motion sickness from these modern Doom games because they're so fast. And this one, I still feel like it's pretty zippy. It's still pretty.
It is.
Like I still. It's another one where like these games, I'm like, I'm not like a big mouse and keyboard guy, but I'm like, I don't know how you play these games not with a mouse and keyboard.
Would you play it on that? So I was at Jake's house last week on the way back from Finland. His monitor, by the way.
I've got the same one. It's the LG one, right?
Oh my God. So were you playing on that? Like, like curved
just
around
right in my
you.
face, surrounded. I am Doom guy. Yeah. I like it so far. It's crunchy. I think the Captain America Murder Shield works really well. It fits into gameplay.
Well. Yep.
It's like a step below juggling all the shit in Eternal, like the flame belch and this and that and that. There's some stuff you have to strategize and think about and change up, but it's not as annoying. I'm still doing things. I'm still fumbling sometimes and like using the wrong thing for the wrong person. And, it throws off your like cool factor, your power fantasy sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you are in a good flow, it's really good. I also really enjoy some of the downtime because it reminds me of old Doom where I'm just kind of wandering around, picking up blue bottles and like looking for health and just like running through that trail of green health, I don't know. It just hit weirdly well. I'm kind of mixed, like on the story stuff. Like Ralph, you kind of described it as Saturday morning cartoon, and that's where I do like it. Is that it's just kind of like cheesy and going for it. But
I was going to say it's like a goofy thing. How does that match with the tone of?
It's just it always clashes with me. Like it clashed with me in Doom Eternal, where there's all these cool alien designs and all the stuff they're excited about, but it just feels like it doesn't fit quite for Doom.
Yes.
For like what in my head as a sweaty kid, like I envisioned Doom was. This feels to me like it's kind of like it wants to be like light side Warhammer 40K.
Absolutely.
It's like a brighter 100%. Color, more colorful. And then I'm like thinking like, well, why don't we just have like Warhammer 40K? Like get that out of my Doom. But
it feels like that stuff always worked better like as the social presence for Doom.
What do you mean?
As in like I feel like Doom's marketing has always kind of had like a little nod and a wink, that kind of thing. That's where I associate goofiness with Doom. I don't look at gameplay of Doom and think, oh, I'm gonna be holding my sides and doing a sensible chuckle at this one, lads. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's where this. I guess like I have like a place for goofiness in Doom, and that's with how it markets itself, and I don't necessarily want that when I'm experiencing Doom,
I think the problem is that the more exposure of Doom or Doom Slayer and the mysteries of the world, the less impactful it all feels. And again, I am sorry to harp and go back to 2016 and like with what Ralph said, but that was beauty in simplicity. You had basic stuff. You had Doom Slayer, vaguely where he came from. You had Samuel Hayden as like basically the antagonist, and like that was really it. Cut and dry, space station, boom. Here, it both works and doesn't work. It's kind of like Doom Eternal, right? Where you get these cutscenes that like are just insane hero shots of the Doomslayer showing up, and the music builds, and it's like, fuck yeah. But after a while, it's just weird to look at the Doom guy walking around doing stuff, and now there's NPCs talking and stuff. It's weird. I'm still kind of like 50-50 on it.
I totally agree. I think that it's just I think because obviously Doom. Okay, I didn't pay close attention to Doom 2016 storyline. Okay, but I know I liked it, and what I got in terms of vibes was like a very strong corporate vibe, which is like there's an evil corporation that's doing things, and you're kind of like fighting to survive while this corporation is kind of like, I don't know, bringing demons in or whatever. Is this complete? I'm like, again, I didn't play to play.
Close enough, yeah. And you're a guy just kind of like spawned from hell or something. They opened up a coffin and you come out,
So I love the whole anti-corporate thing. I think it is very on point at the moment, okay? And I think it's just cool and dark and interesting and sick. The idea that the Doomslayer is actually fighting a giant corporation, I'm into that, right? The idea that the Doomslayer is some kind of, immortal space knight and fighting alongside other Viking space knights against an army of, whatever, like basically Halo. It's like Halo meets Gears of War meets Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I already get all those things from those other licenses. If I wanted the Halo storytelling, I would go back and play Halo 1 3. If I wanted Warhammer, I would go and play Space Marine 2. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not that. Like, this was just a cool, sick, understated, anti-corporate thing. You know what I mean? And we don't have that now. And so that's why I think it's a big step back. I feel like as well, the because I actually remember interviewing Hugo Martin and what's his name?
Marty Stratton
back in the day. And they were talking about the whole RoboCop thing where RoboCop inspired a lot of how they viewed that scene in RoboCop where he is walking through the police precinct and everyone's running to try and see him, but you can't see him. Yeah,
that you see him through the cage and everything.
Correct. That scene is like the main thing that inspired how they wanted to us to see Doomslayer, whatever, right? I feel like since Doom 2016, the Slayer has gone from like RoboCop 1 to RoboCop 3. Do you know what I mean? Like RoboCop 1,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Right? It's like RoboCop 1, it was perfect, it was understated, it was sick as hell, it was anti-corporate. RoboCop 3, he's a fucking action figure at this point. He's got a fucking jetpack.
Yeah,
it's PG-13. Like, that's what I'm saying, right? And I think that is not good. I think we've gone in a bad direction with that. So having said all of this, like I respect Doom for having a crack at it. I respect id for taking a swing at it. Like they tried something and it's fun and cool and
different
silly. And
it's
the
last
like,
one. Yeah,
it's like some things they're gonna do work, like I think the core gameplay, and some things don't work, like the dragon stuff and the mech stuff and the story. And those are big chunks though. But I will say this, and this is like a big disappointment. I don't know how you feel about this, Jake. Soundtrack.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
I feel like unless I sit down and really listen to the soundtrack on its own, I can't really judge it. But all I can say right now is that the soundtrack is leaving no impression on me as I play through this game for two reasons. Number one, the tracks themselves aren't very cool when I do hear them. And number two, the audio mix has it's so low on the music. Like you can't even hear the music sometimes when it's playing. And it's like, what's going on here? You know, that's a problem. I'm not sure if they're doing that deliberately or if it's like a bug. But oh man, Mick Gordon recently posted up on Twitter about like how he built one of the themes for Doom Eternal. And this guy's sound, when he shows you how he does it and how he gets there, you're just like, oh my God, you are a fucking genius. Yeah. There's nothing that I've experienced so far in this that makes me feel that same way. I think it's a big step down, sadly. And it's such a hard act to follow. I feel so sorry for the team that has to follow in Mick Gordon's footsteps, because they really did have to hire a team of people to replace what Mick Gordon was doing on his own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem is that like for the previous two Doom games, the arena or like the battle themes kick in and have brainworms, kind of like how a JRPG or like an RPG turn-based battle theme, like that, like the first time you hear the Final Fantasy X battle theme and you're like, this is going to be stuck in my head for the rest of my life. Or like Expedition 33 themes, like that, like Doom had so many of those throughout the game, throughout both of those two games. And here there's not a lot of that, like brain, that brain worm that like gets into your head. It tries to like ape the vibe, sure, but it doesn't stick in.
Doesn't. And I feel so bad saying that, because I really wanted,
people worked hard on it and gave it their own stab.
And I can imagine it'd be so hard to follow in the footsteps of Mick Gordon. There's the pressure on them to deliver on that front.
The baggage surrounding it all.
Oh, the whole story, the saga, whatever else. So I would love to be able to say, hey, this team really crushed it. Unfortunately, it's just not that, and that's a bummer. But, I don't know. So obviously it sounds like we're pretty down on Doom, but like it's so hard to.
You said you'd recommend it.
But I would actually, and that's what I want to come back to. Like I'm so excited to go back to play it after this. I'm kind of just ignoring all the stuff I don't like, because when I get on the ground with my shotgun in hand, I'm having the best time ever. Like I truly am, and that's ultimately what matters to me. And so those other things are a disappointment, and I can't see this, eclipsing the likes of 2016. I do imagine that the core Doom fandom is probably going to prefer 2016 or Eternal for different reasons, and this is
Yeah.
probably going to land at like a third place, but that's okay because I think it's still going to be a really fun video game. And bottom line, I really applaud id for like trying new things because they've got 3 games in this trilogy now, this modern trilogy, that are all totally different from each other, and
Which
that
I
takes
like.
balls.
I
That
like
takes
that.
balls,
Yeah.
So I respect them for trying things like this. Absolutely.
I definitely, I'm like you. I'm excited to go back and continue playing it. I think the moment to moment gameplay is really fun. It's got a good feel. It's crunchy. It's satisfying. I like a lot of the new weapons. I also really like the gore this time around. Like the last game had it, but I really like the gore this time around. Seeing enemies deform and stuff like that. And I also like the weightiness. You're still lickety split. You still feel super fast, but there's a lot of like ka-chunk when like you land off of like a ledge, or there's just a lot more of that, and I like that. I think it's cool. There's also a lot of destructibility that surprised me. Like you're knocking into shit and like shit's breaking over and like crates are smashing open, and as you're just shooting enemies and punching enemies and Captain America-ing enemies, shit's breaking, shit's exploding, and gore is everywhere. And I've just been digging it for that. That's the moment to moment gameplay is what keeps me going. And then there's like a weird cutscene of like a fake Harkonnen alien, and I'm like, this is cool, I guess, but it's not really Doom for me. But Doom is different for different people. Whatever. Some people really like love Doom 3 more than anything. So who am I to say like what's Doom and what's not? Doom: The Dark Ages. I think it's cool.
Don't forget as well, it's on Game Pass, right? Day one Game Pass.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're interested in this and you don't want to shell out the $70 or whatever, that's a good way to do it. And it is going to be on PlayStation as well, but obviously not on Game Pass. So,
How crazy is it that they're putting Gears of War on PlayStation? That's where it's finally getting real for me. Like Microsoft's whole strategy. Like I know they did it with Forza, and that's interesting. But when I saw the announcement of Gears of War with the PlayStation logo, I was like, "Whoa, holy shit!"
Yeah, it's a whole new.
So wait, this one's going to be 70. It's not going to go up to 80.
No.
When does the $80 thing kick
that's
in?
Holidays.
Holiday.
That's a good one to talk about next. What do you guys reckon about this business?
So Xbox is raising their prices.
Just to recap, the Microsoft has announced that due to market conditions, they're raising the price on the Xbox Series S consoles by about $80 each, like per SKU. The Xbox Series X consoles are going up $100, except for like the 2 terabyte model, which is going up 130, and that machine is now more expensive than a PS5 Pro, LeMayo. And then obviously they've also announced that their new release holiday games, or some of their new release holiday games, will be retailing for $80. So
yes,
what do you guys reckon about that?
Xbox, it's Nintendo, and like PlayStation has raised some prices internationally, but I think it's inevitable at this point that PlayStation also.
Yote's 70, right?
Did they say that? I haven't seen that, but
Yote said note to raising prices. Sorry.
Nice,
let me see. Ghost of Yote. I'm on PlayStation.com. $70.
Wouldn't rule out a price hike though. I mean, at any point they could just jack the price.
It could change at any moment. But at least for now, they have announced it's $70.
Yeah. I think I don't like, we've talked about this before. Like I don't want games to be more expensive. It makes them harder to recommend. It makes them harder to buy. And it sucks. Again, market conditions, bloated development costs. We know all the reasons. We've talked about all that shit, but like $80 is tough. The only benefit, or the only like in a perfect world, like perfect pastures, is what I've mentioned before, is that like with a higher price can often come an expectation of like top tier premium quality.
Yes.
It's just a matter of whether or not developers will follow through with
Will
that.
Perfect Dark be worth $80? I don't know. Let's see, I guess. What in-game fucking spending bullshit will it have? Like, I don't know, man. I mean, look, I obviously like outlined my thesis on this in the last episode, which I know wasn't very popular, but whatever. It's what I think. And, I have different views on different companies and different games and what they're charging for things and whatever else. And it's like, well, Microsoft made $94 billion profit last year. and they closed Tango Gameworks. So they're
Mm.
asking for an extra $10 from me. I'm not really inclined to give it to them personally. You know what I mean? I think they're okay without my $10. And if they release a game that I think is really spectacularly good and doesn't have any in-game monetization, then maybe I'll think about that $80 price point. But on spec, I'm like, I don't think you need to do this. I think when you have $94 billion in profit, you're doing all right. You know, like it's okay, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just
Well, I
how it
did say
is. So.
this on my news show, how, and it was with COVID and now it's with all this tariff shit, right? It's like the first companies to jump on and raise prices and cite market conditions are often the big heavy hitters that could weather a storm. It's not the small businesses, it's not the mom and
Absolutely
pops that raise their
agree.
prices immediately. They hang on and say, "Oh, we got to try and like keep people happy." It's the bigger companies like these that jump the gun and raise the prices immediately when they see the first excuse they can, and then it never goes back down. It never changes.
No. Did anyone, I mean, like it was EA financials today, so we're recording on Tuesday. Like, did anyone ask EA about that?
I didn't see the Q&A.
I think they were
I
too
didn't see
busy just being
anything.
like, Split Fiction sold a bajillion. We're
And we
back.
laid off way more people again.
Yeah.
But here's what I said in my news show this week as well, right? If you look at the top 10 best, most like highly rated games of the year so far in 2025, only 2 of them are $70 new releases. And if you expand that out to the top 20 games, only 3 games in that list are $70. The same sort of numbers for 2024, where in the top 20 games, only 4 of the highest rated games of 2024 were full price $70 releases. Okay. And if you look at the top 10 most played games on Steam right now, 0 of them are full price new releases. You know what I mean? And or were ever priced $70 or were even priced as premium $60 releases. Do you know what I mean? So my point with all this is that like consumers are spending their time and money on cheaper games. The smaller end of town are making the best games that come out each year. And I think it's very risky for these companies to jack prices like this. Like you can do it, sure. And yeah, whatever, go for it. But like, I just think that the market right now is telling you something. It's telling you that people have other options in their back catalog. They have other options from smaller studios, or they're just noping out of that price point because they can't afford it. Because again, there's like a lot of economic hardship right now. So yeah, like go charge $80, like whatever. I mean, I don't like it, but I think it's very risky for them to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it makes recommending a game that's like a 7 out of 10 all the harder. Like you can't just say to someone, "Oh yeah, drop $80 and give this game a go." You might like it. If you're dropping $80 on something, you're like, "This better be my favorite game of all time."
It really reminds me of that conversation. I think many people have made this point that right now, games companies aren't competing against each other. They're competing against TikTok and they're competing against YouTube and all this sort of shit, right? It's like what matters right now is like attention and time. And you want to welcome a new generation into this hobby so they're playing more than just Fortnite and Minecraft. You can't be charging $80 for new release games. So like that's just not going to work,
I feel like these create almost. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. That's it. You go.
I just feel like it's like potentially creating a void, right? Where it's like there are people who are not interested in spending $80 on, say, I don't know, like Doom, the Dark Ages or whatever, however much that costs. But it's either you're on Steam and you're buying Expedition 33 for $50, or you're playing your favorite $30 game and you're loving it, or you're on console and you just play Madden and Fortnite. And that's it. Because I feel like the games that we used to embrace, like what would be like a Doom or like whatever, like a game that's going to cost $80 now, like that could kind of fall to the wayside because people might still want to play it, but might not jump on it anytime soon and wait for multiple sales.
But like, here's the other side of this conversation. And again, it's like, this is why this is so nuanced. Okay. The reality is that you don't need to pay $70 or $80 for the new Doom game. You can get it for $20. Okay. Through Game Pass, or less than. You get it for like $12 on PC Game Pass, I think it is, right? And I know you don't own it. Absolutely. I'm not saying you are, but a lot of people don't care about that. And they're just like, well, I don't really need to own it. I just want to play it. And so in that way, it's like gaming has actually never been cheaper. Because imagine if you could get a new release game like that, and dozens of new releases. Like, imagine if in a single month you could get the Oblivion remaster and Claire Obscura and Blueprints and Doom Dark Ages in a single month. Oh wait, that's not an imagined situation. That's actually what's happened, and you're going to be able to get that all for $20. Okay, so from one perspective, like, games are cheaper than ever before. Okay, on the other hand, if you actually care about owning your games, it's a very different story. And
you
that's again
nailed.
why there's just say again.
I said you get nailed.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, there's so many angles to this story, so many perspectives, so much nuance. You know, Microsoft, obviously, I'm guessing that this part of this price hike is a play into Game Pass. So like, well, we charge more, and it's just going to encourage more people to go on Game Pass, and hopefully then they stick around. And then maybe that's the long tail revenue they're chasing, kind of smooth out their curve. You know, I don't know. But
I wonder how the Game Pass deals are currently. I don't know. It doesn't feel like I wonder, you know, if they are being as like spending a lot of money giving out those Game Pass deals at the moment.
You mean Microsoft spending money
like
on game development studios?
Yeah. On like making sure that people are coming to the service and like making sure that they are on there. Because I mean, yeah, like an incredible month for Game Pass and like stuff like you know, all Xbox first parties coming out. Yeah. But like, how much of that money kind of gets shared in the pool? How much of the deals that get people on there? Like, obviously, you're not privy to a lot of the financial stuff, but you'd also hope, if you are hoping to maintain that ecosystem and keep it thriving, that you are investing in it.
I'm and having spoken to developers myself, and having, you know, sort of my team looked at this as well. Like, most developers actually have good things to say about their Game Pass deals that come their way, you know, and they have good things to say about Game Pass net. It definitely changes buying habits on the Xbox console, where it's like, it's, you know, smaller developers basically say there's almost no point in developing a game for Xbox unless it is going to Game Pass, because the buying habits they have changed so considerably. And, you know, maybe that's sustainable, maybe it's not. We've been asking that question about Game Pass since it arrived, and we don't really know yet. But all we know is that, like, you know, Microsoft's doing it, and, you know, they've got the pockets to keep it going, and I guess we'll just see how long the experiment runs for, you know. So yeah. Anyway,
well, yeah, $80 games.
$80 games, like, man.
You got to be really excited for a game to spend $80 on it. Yeah. Like, if they made Max Payne 4 tomorrow, I would buy it for $100, like, easily. But like,
well, don't let Rockstar hear you say that.
Yeah, no, sorry. But no, and also they shouldn't make a Max Payne 4. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, the $80 thing is going to be a conversation for a while, and especially as we talk about games and recommend games, and not even just us, but like people just like talking shit to their friends in Discord and recommending games. Like, it's just like a piss take, right? Is that what that? Where it's like, you want me to spend what?
Nice, yeah, very nice.
I'm international now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they say in Finland.
Excuse me. Well, with that, let's take it over to another word from our sponsors. Next up, this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Factor. Factor, if you don't know, delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. They have all different options, add-ons. You can essentially set a box and have a bunch of meals come for the week for you. A couple of minutes in the microwave, and you're good to go. It really takes like some of the thought process out of eating. Am I right, Lucy? You're new to Factor.
I'm new to Factor, and I'm loving it. I can't tell you, like, as a busy modern professional, no, but as someone who is not really good at making shopping lists and figuring out what to eat, having a bunch of these in my fridge and just ready to go, you know, like, we record late, and so after this I'm going to be just hitting one of those Factor boxes, putting it in the microwave, and I know that I'm going to be eating something that's tasty and that's actually, you know, dietitian approved and is not just full of gross stuff for me in minutes. And that's a huge lifesaver and time saver.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, again, is options. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences. You know, like keto, calorie smart, protein plus if you need protein. Just a lot of options, a lot of add-ons like smoothies and juices. Factor really does have something for everyone. But seriously.
Yeah, no, it really does. Like, I've been so impressed with the meals that I've been getting delivered. And like I said, it is just delicious stuff at the end of the day. And
yeah,
it takes all the brain work out, and I'm just like, yeah, this is good to go, good to eat, and
That's
thrilled.
key.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like to just focus on whether you're working
focus
or
on gaming. Let's be
focus
real.
on gaming,
Focus
grinding,
on gaming.
But whoever out there listening, if you're a busy working adult or a busy parent, or maybe you just have an off week and you need a backup plan, Factor really slots in for everybody in different ways.
Yep. So if you want to eat smart with Factor, you can get started at factormeals.com/FPS50off. If you use the code FPS50off, you get, might surprise you, 50% off your first box plus free shipping. So that's code FPS50off at factormeals.com/FPS50off. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring this episode.
And we're back. Now we have another user question courtesy of Lucy.
Well, it's not my question. This is from Charles Gang.
Yeah.
But I know the wizardry that uploads it into Riverside so we can all listen to it together.
Hey guys, just a little bit of context so my question makes more sense, but I grew up playing everything Nintendo, didn't have an Xbox or a PlayStation growing up, and now that I'm 30, I mainly play gacha games, much to your dismay. I actually started playing Dredge and Outer Wilds at the same time recently, and I've been loving the ride. So, although I don't play many of the games you guys review and talk about, I just really enjoy being informed about the games industry and the discussion behind it all. So my question for you guys is, what game or media has left you kind of speechless? Like when you finish something, you kind of just need to space out for a moment or stare at the wall or ceiling. Anything that made you think about it, even when you're doing something totally unrelated or mundane. But this game has its grips on you in the best way possible. It's maybe affected you as a person, or maybe even changed how you view the world. And I'm assuming for Ralph, it's probably Outer Wilds or Nier Automata. But if you have any others, I'd love to hear them.
You got me so good, man.
Thanks. Shout out to fellow New Yorker Jake, the best Aussie Lucy, and the best Englishman, Ralph.
Wow.
Whoa.
It really fucked
Charles
up the
Tang,
end.
thank you for that. Good question.
Nice, man. Nice that.
Yeah.
No, he definitely got me good on that one. I was actually, me personally, Nier Automata was, I think, one of the first ones that like really KO'd me and kind of started my career in a way. Like it actually KO'd me so hard that it started my career, as a reviewer. So that is certainly a thing. I mean, Outer Wilds, there's never been an experience like that I've had in any movie or book or whatever, which I know sounds lame, but it's true. And I think if you've played Outer Wilds, you'll kind of get why it is, and you can never get it back, and it's devastating. And yeah, I think that's all I've really got. I don't know that I've ever seen a movie or read a book that's done that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are you guys?
Book wise, I was absolutely devastated at the end of The Road, like Cormac McCarthy. That was I think that was in terms of Charles's question, I think that was one of those books where I was just standing in the shower kind of going, damn, for a long time afterwards. I think game wise though, I honestly like Red Dead Redemption 1. Because Red Dead for me, because I came to that generation of consoles late. I didn't get it until Red Dead came out, and Red Dead was the first game I played on 360. So that was May 2010. I just kind of wasn't really emotionally. I just didn't think they'd do it, and I think the way that the story kind of culminates. And I'm not going to spoil it because I met someone the other day who has not played Red Dead and didn't know the big twist. I have a friend of mine. I told you this. I was watching Terminator 2 with her, and she didn't know that Arnie was the good guy. And that hallway scene when they come into contact, and the roses and the Guns and Roses, and she just went, "Wait, what?" And I was like,
I would live to be in that brain. That would be incredible. That's like me and my Outer Wilds, like experiencing it for the first time, watching Terminator for the first time and learning that. Oh God. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when it came to Red Dead, and then just, the music, and it's the piano version of Exodus in America. And actually I went back and started replaying Red Dead last year, and then thinking about where that story goes, that first train ride when they're basically, it's a lot of exposition, but in terms of the world more than anything. I don't know. It got me in my feelings a lot.
Yeah, I'll raise you with Red Dead 2. I feel like for me, did a lot in terms of like the realization of, for me, for Red Dead 2, a lot of it came down to the epilogue. And for me, it was kind of like the embodiment of when you hear somebody in, like, you know, a friend or a family member talk about something that somebody did for them a long time ago that helped them out and really set them on a path. And seeing what Arthur kind of did for John Marston and his family and how that like progressed, it was just really cool to see. And it kind of makes you, it made me think a little more in depth about like doing nice things for people, which is really simple. But I think things like that should be simple and small. Other than that, I am a really simple guy. I don't have things that make me like change my shit up or anything. A lot of things make me cry, so I'm an easy mark for that. But I would say sometimes things make me want to like make something. Like, you ever experience something that's so good and you're like, I want to do it. I want to fucking do something. This is amazing. Most recently it was Expedition 33, you know, finishing that. And I was like, man, these people made something and it's different and it's interesting and it's weird. I want to do that. I'm not going to, but the fact that I thought about it for a while, I think means something. I think that it left an impact on me.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's very recent, but I did finish Expedition 33 and yeah.
It's a lot, isn't it? I just hit Act 3. So,
it sticks that landing so well. Oh my god, it's like a really beautiful game about grief. And I've actually, I mean, Edith Finch, I think, is another one, which is a really beautiful game about grief that definitely. I think I've said this on the podcast before. Is that like I suffered a lot of grief very early in my life, and so playing Edith Finch was quite a weird one for me in that regard, because it just kind of makes you think about, you know, your life and the lives of the people around you, and it's quite emotional, and I don't know. That's a beautiful game. But yeah, Expedition 33 good too.
Sopranos, man. Every time I watch it, I'm like, God damn.
And The Wire. The Leftovers. Oh, no, okay. I take back everything I fucking said. It's the end of The Leftovers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you Leftovers people say the same thing about that show, so I got to get on that one day.
Yep.
It is the greatest TV finale of all time.
Interesting. Is it better than a cut to black and unresolved ending? I'm gonna guess yes, it is. Yes,
it is. Yeah, I have no idea how they threaded that needle, and it like it was stacked against him, but not in terms of the series being bad or anything, but just like in terms of the story that you are wrapping up. And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. That's 6 Feet Under. A lot of this shit is stuff about grief, but you know,
nice.
I'm more of like when the old guy comes back one more time and he's got a lightsaber again, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool, and I cry.
Did you guys see this Destiny? Did you guys see this Destiny announcement today?
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
What was it? Star Wars crossover?
I'm so mad. You don't understand how mad I am. I'm fucking furious. Fuck.
They're not going to get me in. I'm not going to.
So lame. So anyway, they announced something called like They've announced 4 expansions this year. Expansions, which are basically like content drops. Okay, the old expansions that we used to have are gone. So now we've got like 4 expansions. Okay, one of these expansions is called Renegade, and it's inspired by Star Wars. And like you see this trailer of like, you know, the first thing you hear is the Star Wars alarm sound, like, which I can't make the sound, but you'll know that sound.
The thumbnail is Darth Vader on it. What are they talking about?
It has like a lightsaber. It's just like you pre-order it and you get skins for Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, and General Grievous in game. I'm like, it has the Lucasfilm logo at the end of the trailer. It's like, what are we doing here? But they're like, oh no, it's not a Star Wars collaboration. It's inspired by Star Wars. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can be Darth Vader in this game now. Have you lost the plot? Like, are you out of your mind?
So, it feels out of character for them.
Dude, The Destiny community, not happy about it. No one that I've spoken to is excited about it. It like because they did like a set of Destiny of Star Wars skins in Destiny a little while ago, and Destiny's done crossover stuff in the past, but it's always
some
made
Mass
it.
Effect stuff. And...
Yeah, it's always made it look very Destiny. It's kind of like we take an idea and then we zhuzh it up and it looks authentic to that universe. This one with the Destiny with the Star Wars skins, they were just like, nope. It's a stormtrooper. There you go. Enjoy. It looked honestly like a Fortnite skin. I was so mad. And now to see that
Darth Jar Jar.
Now that they've just gone all in on this and they're doing it, I'm just like, oh, you don't understand how much I would like die, because I was like, oh, I really hope that Bungie prove us all wrong and that next year Destiny's gonna come back and they're gonna have cool content. It's gonna be super exciting. I'm gonna start playing again, whatever else. When I got that, I'm like, it's never been more over. When I saw that fucking reveal, I was like, come on, man. And it's just, again, the whole Destiny community feels the same way. It just, it's a terrible look. Anyway, this is what it is. Destiny's in a rough spot and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
I feel like Night Sisters would fit well in the Destiny universe, but that doesn't really.
What's Night Sisters?
They're like the magic users of the Star Wars world. It's a lot. Did you play?
Was it from that show? Was it from that?
Oh wait, the boss fight from
From what?
From Jedi.
What's her name? Is a Night Sister, the love interest from the first one. Morin? No, what is her name? I don't remember.
Wait, from which game are we talking about? Which game?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, there is no love interest in the first one. There's only love interest in the second one.
Second one, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. She's a Night Sister. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that, but again, I wouldn't want that because it's Star Wars. So just we already have our own space magic. We don't need other space magic. We've got our own space magic, you know. So
anyway. Is it like actually General Grievous?
Yes, it's actually General Grievous. Like, go and look at it, man. It's General Grievous. I'm so mad. Right, let's talk about something else. I'm getting too upset. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Where are we at?
Actually, tell you what, though.
Actually, that's actually a nice segue.
It's actually a nice segue. While we're on the topic of Bungie, I played Arc Raiders over the weekend, actually.
Oh, man, I want to play this.
And to be fair, full transparency, I've actually put 50 hours into Arc Raiders across various technical tests. Because I actually really, really like Arc Raiders. I think it's really good.
Damn.
I knew it was good before when it was still under NDA or whatever, and I knew people would like it when it went open, and people fucking love this game. Like, it's really popped off a lot. Subreddit is just huge and people so excited for it. Social media, so many clips, so much vibe. Player count was so solid throughout the entire play test, and that is such a stark contrast to Marathon, because Marathon had, the player count went up and then it just went straight down, and it just meant that people weren't logging back in, and that was not the case here with Arc Raiders. People were logging back in, and I was doing the same. I was logging back in to play more of it because it's a really, really great game. It has such an incredible sense of like immersion in the world, and the art design is so sick, and the sound design is S tier, and I like the rickety weapons. I don't know, they're real piece of shit weapons, but like I like that because it adds a kind of interesting variable to combat and feels cool. In particular, the main sort of conceit of Arc Raiders is that you are fighting, as you are exploring, you're fighting against these arc enemies that are mechanical drone-like enemies that can be either really small or really big. And they create a lot of action because they make sounds, they're very deadly, they can be guarding specific points of interest, they have important resources that you need. They make things happen. And this was what Marathon was really missing, I think, in terms of it doesn't have a hook, right? And Arc has a hook through these machines because they're the ones that force people together and make things happen. Hunt Showdown has its hook because it's got its bosses, and those bosses make things happen. Right now, Marathon is like, hey, go find 6 keypads spread across the map, and we all remember how fun that was, Oh, yeah. So it was a really good technical test, very well received. I loved it. And to me personally, it really cemented how not ready to go Marathon is. Like Marathon still has a ways to go in terms of its development. I get that. But there's something more fundamental missing within Marathon. And until that's slotted in, and like if these two games were to get released at the same time, oh man, like Arc Raiders were just completely dumpster marathon. Like there's almost no comparison, you know. So
Because did you keep up with the finals?
I kept up with it in terms of I check in on it. I actually did play it post my review as well. I actually played 2 seasons of content on that game.
Damn.
Because it's a
When
fantastic.
do you have the time?
I don't know. That's a good question. But I actually really did play a lot of that game because again, I thought that was really superb. Like we're talking about many of the people that work at that studio are the like OG DICE people who made Battlefield.
Yeah.
You know, and so where did the Battlefield like DICE talent go? I'm sure some of them are still at DICE, but many of them are now at Embark, and they've taken those lessons and they just, you know, we're talking about veteran shooter like developers, and you can feel that experience in the finals. You can absolutely feel it the same way in Arc Raiders. It's super good, super good. So yeah, that's what I played.
I want to play it.
Yeah, I mean,
It looks more up my alley than some of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm intrigued.
I think you guys aren't super into this genre of game. I don't imagine it would become your forever game, but I imagine you'd step into it. Yeah, you give it a go and you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I can see why people like this. I can see why this is interesting. I can see why this works, you know?
Dude, I'm already fighting with the fact that apparently Overwatch is good again.
I heard that actually. Someone told me that the other day, and I'm like,
how dare they? How could they?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
I played a little bit of Days Gone Remastered, which I actually think they did a pretty good job with.
Okay.
So I've touched this game quite a bit because it was PS4, then it was updated for PS4 Pro, and then in the early days of PS5, it did technically get a 60 FPS patch, but now it's like a full, like way better. It's like sharper, perfect frame rate, new lighting, really crisp, and I think it actually made a difference at night specifically. Nighttime is more scary. I don't know if you guys played this game, but like especially when you're driving through like tunnels and stuff at night. Now the darkness is really, really effective, so you're really relying on the headlight of your motorcycle so much,
right?
And it has a horde mode now that's actually a lot of fun because they just go full stupid with it. It's like arcade. It's like a score building, like horde mode with like modifiers and stuff like that. And some of the modifiers are like every time you shoot a zombie, it explodes. So like if it's like cool. That stuff where it's like the game's been out for so long, let's just like mess around and have these like game breaking things. Yeah, that was really good. The only other thing, of course, is Expedition 33, which we've touched upon a lot, but. All I'll say now that at least people are getting their hands on it, is that I think it sticks the landings, and I think it's, you know, it's up there. It's up there. It's probably going to be up there with one of my favorite games of 2025 for sure.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I genuinely. Like the one thing I can fault it on is that I don't like having to up the attributes of all of my party members because I feel like
it gets a little tedious after a while.
Yeah, that's the bit that gets tedious. But like at the end, also they fucking know what they're doing. The best place to grind for levels is right next to the place where you need to go for the final, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, these fuckers know what they're doing. But not like the build crafting. It's beautiful. The music. I would watch the credits all the way through just because, like, I mean, obviously, I watched the credits all the way through on everything, but it's just like they
Did
even
you watch
put like
the credits through on Assassin's Creed Shadows? All 2 hours of them.
I did not do. Well, I didn't finish Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Fair call.
But no, there's a lot of love in there too.
Who's your character?
My team.
The one, just who's your character that you really like fucked with? Because everyone has their own
Lune.
kind of little sub.
Come on now, is there any other answer than Lune? Please.
Although I did get served.
Wise, mechanically wise.
Oh, mechanically.
Is it CL? I remember we were talking about CL a little bit.
So I used CL a lot in early game, and then I actually my party was Verso, Lune, and Monoko. Purely because I would use Verso a lot to buff. And then he can do a lot of high damage. My Lune towards the end, I had those abilities that basically at the beginning and end of every turn, like the enemies would be taking like either fire damage, rock damage, or lightning damage, or if I'd done it well enough, a combo of the three. And so I was just like rinsing enemies at the end. And then Monoko was just very fun. I just think in terms of hi Jelly.
He's funny, man. I love his dialogue. I love his lines.
Yes.
I love his voice.
There will
Him
be lots
hanging
of
out with
fighting.
Verso, it's like, yeah,
That's so good.
that's how dudes talk. I like that.
Yeah.
That's how bros talk to each other. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of games don't do that. They don't understand that, how bros talk to each other. They're like, fuck you, man. They're like, no, fuck you. No, fuck you, man. Like that's
you're right.
They talk about emotions and stuff. It's so funny. I actually might like the last stand of Expedition 33. Whenever like my main party died was obviously CL and Mael, and like they can also just do enormous amounts of damage, and it was
there's like these builds for Mael where she does like 5 billion damage in
Bro.
1 hit or whatever.
Yeah, Mael's my character. Mael's my character. I'm not like a big RPG stat number guy, but I love just like setting up all the chips and getting a 200% virtuose stance and just being like, on God, and just doing a fucking crazy fucking thing.
Once you get the Pictos that lets you do more than 9999 damage.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then some of the gradient attacks too are just obscene. Like I would be applying powerful, applying defenseless, taking shields. Like it was, it's great. And then the story at the end comes together.
Yeah.
In such a satisfying way.
I think it's like really, really good. I feel like it really feels to me like what I wish Final Fantasy 16 was. And I know that whole like discourse became very toxic and like, why can't we just enjoy games and not compare them? I'm like, well, it's fun to compare games. And certainly this one has, a lot of Final Fantasy energy. It's just like, I wish Square Enix took the series in this direction. And because it's like the best Final Fantasy kind of game since like, I don't know, 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lie. There's reboot, like other than the 7 remake, obviously, in terms of like new numbered entries, not a remake. I feel like 10 was for me like the high point. And I feel like
put some respect on Lightning.
I was gonna say put some respect on 12.
I mean,
12
sure, everyone
doesn't have those like that same type of sauce. It's got like
it has
exactly
a very
what I'm talking about.
We want to be Star Wars sauce.
Correct. And I think like Lightning, had like a lot of baggage as well, and they really drew it out with the trilogy and whatever else.
10 is a perfect comparison.
Like perfect, and I feel like this is that kind of bottled greatness where it's gonna just age so brilliantly. And I don't know, I'm still playing it. I'm gonna review it next week, I think, when I got some time, because it's been such a massive week. But it's pretty extraordinary. There's no doubt about it. I think it's a lock for Game of the Year unless something else comes along that's better. And I can't imagine anything does. I mean, you never know. Like, we never expected this to be this good. But like, damn, man, it's a tall order to top this. I feel like these guys are coasting in. But I actually feel really bad for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Because I feel like if you would ask me...
I think it's still a top contender, man.
Yeah,
I think it's
but I don't. But I think the weight has swung behind it. And I think if you were to ask a judging panel who's going to win that, I'm pretty sure that most judges are going to give it to Expedition, even though I personally would give it to Kingdom Come at this point, because like the construction of that game is just utterly remarkable.
Yeah,
but that's all the discussion.
Speaking of construction, one last observation from me. I do this thing after like I finish a game sometimes, and like the dust settles, and like especially like reviewing games, it's like beforehand, but now it's out. And people upload videos and stuff, I'll watch all the cutscenes of a game again, like a couple days after I finish it. And I did that with this. And
you cry?
Yeah. But what I really like is the like confidence in establishing cool characters just looking cool. I think there's something to that. Like when people who make something really understand, like, okay, this is going to be a moment that they're all going to look cool, but it's also going to like hit. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel right. The iconic spinning shot around the Avengers from the first Avengers movie. I get like a million, like any superhero, like just when characters are there and they all do their thing. This game has so many moments where it does that throughout that just feel like big end game level sequences where it's a beautiful shot on the horizon and the characters line up heroically, and it just hits so well. And I just love how much they did that. That's just random thing.
For me, and I know we're still talking about this game, but so apologies. But like for me, it's like the humanity of the writing and the characterization really stands out, because there's something very deftly human about all of their the way they're written and the way the performances have brought them to life. It just doesn't feel. That was actually one of my biggest takeaways as I played through it. I'm like, the voice direction here just hits different. Like, there's just a thing that's going on with how these people are talking that makes them feel like far more real and like TV characters rather than video game characters. It's so stripped back and so delicate. There's a delicateness to it that I just think is so special. And yeah, I really would love to hear about how they were voice directed. I'd love to. We should just call Ben. We should just fucking call him right now.
Yeah,
I'm seeing him this weekend.
Just get him on and ask him like, was there
like?
any difference in the way that he was directed in that? Because it feels like there's just a different energy with regards to that voice direction.
Yeah.
So
there's so many like hushed conversations. There's so many vulnerable bits. Like they got so
much. The vulnerability is,
especially like after playing Baldur's Gate 3 and thinking you understand like Jennifer English, and then seeing her in this role, and I think it's like just a top tier, incredible character.
I mean, like if you had to put, I don't know who you would put forward for the awards for performance.
SKA.
I mean, like, oh, absolutely
SKA for sure.
But like, I mean, Mael for sure. Ben, obviously, fantastic as Verso, but like.
Yeah, I think
Andy Serkis, like Lunate, like that Minoko is. Oh my god,
Minoko's the best. He's my guy. He's my guy. He gets all my votes, 100%. Anyway,
good game. Yeah,
good game.
Yeah,
a lot of video games. That was everything we've been playing this week. But I would love to know a little bit about what you guys are enjoying that isn't a video game. We'll show and tell.
Do you want to go? I'll go first. Okay, very briefly. I saw Thunderbolts. Okay.
Oh, okay.
How was that?
And I loved Thunderbolts. I thought it was really fantastic. I'm not going to tell you it's the best shit like MCU ever, but I'm going to tell you it's a damn solid movie that has some cool characters, and Florence Pugh crushes it in it. And like I was emotional. Oh my god, she is so good in it. Like she
got a bad rap with she got a bad draw of the cards with Black Widow, man. So it's
well, that movie sucked.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot that movie existed.
Did they finally make good on her, like Yelena, like as a thing?
Oh my god, absolutely! Like there were moments in this where I was really emotional because like, damn, she just sold it super well, and the team dynamic works really well. Because I actually watched that like Captain America TV show back in the day about like US agent. And this has Walker in it. Yeah. It was probably 2 years ago, probably. And this has him in it, and he just does such a good job. And he like his character is so perfect here. And the villain, Sentry / Void or whatever, he's also great. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is, I don't want to say she's perfect, but she's like really. It's just great to see her on screen. Either way, it's just a great time at the movies. Like you don't need to have known anything about these characters, by the way. It's a very good self-contained story. You head in there, you get some good entertainment, but also if you do know about these characters and you are hooked into all of this, there's a lot of payoffs, and it's just a really well-made film, and like hell, fucking Red Letter Media, they even said it's good. Been a long time since they said anything Marvel was good.
That's crazy.
The Weekly Planet guys, they enjoyed it. It's getting good raps all around, and I'm not surprised because I think it's a very solid film. I think it's like a solid 8. I think you could stretch it up to 8.5. Really recommend checking it out. If you're all interested in superhero stuff, I almost guarantee you'll like this.
Did you read any Sentry stuff? Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't read Sentry. I read the original Thunderbolts. I collected from like issue 1 of the original Thunderbolts. I've got that over there.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed Thunderbolts back in the day.
Cool.
Shout out to Julia Louis-Dreyfus for getting to meet the Rizzler.
That nice child.
Did you see her quote afterwards? She goes, "I didn't know who he was, but he was a nice child." Yeah.
It's so funny.
Nice.
She's so great. What an absolute legend.
I also went to the movies. We talked about this at the end of the last episode, but I went and I saw Revenge of the Sith.
Oh man,
in theaters.
How was that?
Anniversary.
In theaters.
It was great. It's still a George Lucas prequel movie, so I'm old enough to shit on the prequels, but I'm also old enough to like. I was also at that right age to like kind of still love it or just happy to be happy to have more Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think this is obviously the best of the prequels, and by like a country mile. I think it's got a lot of nonsense in it, but I think the good shit is so good, from obviously all the memorable sequences that people meme and stuff over and over and over again. But the music and how John Williams cooked on every single moment of this movie, every single like shot, is just crazy. The music is so good. You can listen to it. I listen to it back and I know exactly like I'm like, okay, I know this part of the song. This is when this is happening. It's so perfectly done. But it all comes down to that last fight. That last fight is so incredible. Obviously people have different opinions about Star Wars and how lightsaber fights are choreographed and stuff like that. But I think that they just went full on anime and just went for it. It was great, coupled with the fact that it's filled with so much emotion. I grew up as a kid only seeing the original Star Wars and remembering that conversation of Obi-Wan and Luke, and he's like, your father, we fought in the Clone Wars. And as a kid, you're like, what is that? What is the Clone Wars? I need to know about that. So to finally see that confrontation on screen, I think is still great. It hit when I saw it in theaters. I told this story last time, but when I saw it in theaters and I cried, and the girl I saw it with thought it was weird. She broke up with me.
She was right to do it.
She was. Yeah, I was a loser. So now I went with my wife, who was hot and cool and also likes Star Wars. So
I met her and I can confirm.
Who's laughing now? There you go.
Yeah. So Star Wars. I don't talk about Star Wars online. I've like retired. Like I like Last Jedi Luked away from talking about Star Wars online years ago. But I came back out of my hole just to be like, Revenge of the Sith is good. General Grievous is cool. Also, side note, I did Google the Destiny 2 Star Wars things while we were talking, and they just look like Mega Bloks versions of those characters. So what if General Grievous looked stupid?
It's so exactly on point. It's 100%.
Sorry, guys.
It's so deeply embarrassing.
So that's me.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
My cat. Hey, God, Jelly.
That's nuts on that
that's
chair.
A brand new
Shelly's
chair.
going for it.
Shredding that chair.
Make sure you zoom in on that in the edit, Stu. Make sure everyone can see that nice and clear. For any audio listeners, Jelly is the cat, and he's just
the orange one.
She's just
always
going
in frame.
ham, absolutely ham on that chair,
Orange
clawing it to
cats
pieces.
are menaces, just like Garfield.
Yeah. So I'm reading a book that I'm enjoying at the moment.
Well, go on.
Hey, get down.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Maniac mode.
I'm reading a book called My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. I'm not sure how to pronounce this surname. I hope I got it right. A friend of mine recommended it to me, my friend Jen. And it is basically about a woman who wants to escape from the world. And so what she does is she's basically in like the biggest depression coma. It's like self-inflicted with pills that she gets from the world's worst psychiatrist. And it's like this kind of darkly funny account of this person who just wants to shut the world away. And like she has the means, like she doesn't have to work or really check in on much. And she has one friend who she hates and who hates her. And it's I kind of like the fact that it is this first person account from someone who so clearly sucks. And
I like that. That's interesting. Yeah.
And so then I just got to the part, I'm still very early on, where she meets this psychiatrist, and it is the it's set in like 2001, and it is basically she opened the phone book and just pointed at a name, and this woman is so clearly just a terrible, terrible practitioner, and yet gives her scripts for all of these things that will keep her essentially asleep and comatose, and so she doesn't have to deal with her life. So yeah, it's just like a very strange. I would not have picked it up myself. I only picked it up because my friend Jen read it and has been raving about it. I felt so bad. She's been raving about it for a year. She lent it to me. I forgot, moved house, and then I was like, oh yeah, can I borrow that book you were talking about? And she was like, you have it.
Nice, man.
Bitch, unpack your boxes. You have it somewhere. And I was like, okay. But I finally started reading it. And honestly, it's just kind of nice to not be on my phone and just like on a screen. Like
Sure.
it's a physical
So
book and stuff too.
That is nice.
So
it's very nice.
that's been good. It was also, it's like a 300 pager, so it's not a big commitment.
It's reasonable.
But also, I'm still reading Berserk.
Yep.
Oh, I got through the eclipse, and I just finished the arc with the bug children.
I'm sure that a lot of people who watch this know what that means.
Oh yeah, I do.
But I'm
the
not
bugs. And then I just gotta pick that back up when I'm emotionally prepared.
Nice.
So that book was called My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay.
About just drugging yourself, basically.
Drug yourself.
Don't do it, kids.
Nice.
Okay. Don't do it.
Kids.
But the book is good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a lot of stuff. We talked about a lot.
We did.
It's 1:30 a.m. We did it, gamers.
Oh my god, I feel so bad for you guys, but thank you for sticking it.
Oh, I feel bad for Jake. I'm fine.
Sure,
I feel bad
Jake,
for Jake.
you
it's
man of
4:30.
steel right
I gotta
here.
go to bed. Yeah.
You do.
What can I
You
say?
do.
Anyway, this has been another episode of Friends Per Second. Most importantly, episode 69. Thank you for listening. If you got this far, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you leaving reviews and comments on all the major platforms, Spotify, whatever other podcast platform, here on YouTube. Thank you. We're here every other week. We got a lot of stuff cooking. Got some interviews we're lining up. We got some game previews we're talking about. So tune in next time. But for now,
and after that, we're going to be in LA for Summer Games Fest. So
that's right.
Oh my god.
It's going to be an in-person show. It's going to be huge.
We got
in-person for us. We're not doing a live show, just to be super clear.
Yeah, no.
Maybe one day we'll do a live show in LA, but it won't be this year.
Yeah. We got Christopher Nolan on the pod, so that'll be cool.
That's right. That. Might have heard of him. What's up with that death scene? What happened? What's the story behind that one? Do you want to do
what? Dark Knight Rises?
The Dark Knight Rises. Why didn't you reshoot that one, Christopher? Why not, man? Tell us the story.
What was going on there?
You didn't just say to her, like, "Hey, you're a good actress. Let's give it one more."
Let's not do that again.
So you can find me on all the social medias at Jake Baldino. Lucy, what about you?
I'm Lucy James Games, LucyJames.games on Blue Sky.
Ralph?
Find me. Just Google Shill Up and you'll find me. It works.
Well, for us, you can also reach out to us at contact@friendspersecond if you want to send us a question, as well as the Substack newsletter, which is, Lucy, what is it called?
Friendspersecond.substack.com, baby.
And it's free. Yes. Feel free to sign up. It's 100%
and all
free.
this is just a recap of the episodes.
Yep.
Yeah. If you missed a game or something, we mention everything. But I think that's about it. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time. Tie your shoes and go to bed.